Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we're taking a look at the Thermaltake Ceres 350 MX TG ARGB. This is the black version, as you can see, and this is one of the few cases on the market which actually comes in an absolute plethora of different colour options. Now, I'm probably going to get some of these wrong, and there may be some added by the time you actually get around to making a purchase. This is actually very new on the market and is limited availability, but I'll try and put some links in the video description and also a link to Thermaltake's site so you can check out what colours are currently available. But at the time of recording, there is, I believe, the black version, the snow version, which is white. There's also a bubble pink, a bumblebee yellow, racing green. Also, there is a hydrangea blue, which is out to celebrate the 25 years that Thermaltake have been going. And also, there is a matcha green. Now, potentially there will be other colours as well. You might have seen some B-roll on the screen to go over the colours which are currently available at the time of recording. There's a lot to choose from, so hopefully there should be something for pretty much everyone. And also, if that wasn't enough, most of those colours will actually come with matching fans as well. So if you go for possibly the matcha green, then you can get a matcha green radiator, you can get the fans, all that kind of stuff. The fans actually in here are pretty decent. So we're looking at the Thermaltake CT140 ARGB. These are really good fans, and considering they kind of throw them in basically for free with the case, they're an excellent choice. You get two 140s in the front, and there's a single non-RGB black one in the back. Obviously, if you get a different coloured version, you'll get a different coloured fan in the rear. So this is what is classed as a mid-tower case. Now it comes in measurement-wise at 475mm by 245mm by 463mm. So that's roughly 19 inches by 10 inches by 18 inches. When it comes to CPU clearance on the actual CPU cooler, you're looking at up to 185mm, so you can get some pretty chunky coolers on there. And when it comes to graphics cards, you can get some pretty big graphics cards in as well, up to 360mm in length. And when it comes to the power supply, they have actually put a limit on it of 220mm, but because the basement section is so vast and empty, you can basically put whatever power supply you want in there. Talking of measurements, also when it comes to fan placements and radiators, that kind of thing. So in the front here, you've got the two 140s, which are included as standard. You can, if you want to, put three 120mm fans in there, or alternatively up to a 360mm radiator. Because you've got two 140s in there, so that means a 280 is fine as well, and obviously you can put smaller ones in should you wish to. When it comes to the top section, you're looking at a maximum of 280mm AIOs. You can also put in two 140mm fans or two 120mm fans should you wish to, or a 240 radiator should that fit your purposes. Also on the back, you've got the option there for a 140mm fan. At the moment, this has got the non-RGB one, as we said previously, but you can swap out for a 140mm of your choice. Preferably, ideally, the CT140 ARGB, I think would be nice just to round things off. You can put a smaller fan in there, should you wish to, or if you are that way inclined, you could put a small AIO in there, as long as it doesn't exceed 120 or 140mm. Now, before we go into this too much and look at the inside and take a product tour, we're going to take a look at the accessories first of all, because this is actually something quite unusual for a PC case. This actually comes with a really decent supply of accessories. So you get the usual stuff, as you'd expect. You get your accessories bag with things like cable ties and screws and all that kind of stuff. Also a BIOS speaker, which is also really handy for diagnosing PC faults should they arise. But something which is very unusual is the fact that there are two replacement front plates. So one of which is for this glass section. So if for some reason you don't like this really stylish glass on the front, then you can swap it out for a mesh design, which is really easy to do. Take off the front panel, there's four screws, two top, two bottom, and you can just replace the panel with the other one should you wish to. I actually really like the glass look on here, and something they've done really nicely on this is the fact that the glass is not obstructing or anything behind it as well. So you've got the glass, then you've got really fine nylon mesh, and the fans are completely open. As you're probably seeing from some B-roll I filmed earlier when we had this thing powered up, the fans are not encroached upon in any way, shape or form from the front, so you get that full view of the fans, which I think is a really good step. And actually, strangely, if you look at the Thermaltake site, some of the images on there actually show it with the fans actually having slats in front of them, or if you were going to have 120mm fans, the kind of the inner brackets. But on here, you can't see that at all, so I think it looks absolutely great, and I personally would strongly recommend sticking with the glass. Another thing which you never see is a replacement side panel. So Thermaltake have done this previously with the Ceres 500 range, and also the 300s, the 330. So the side panel down here is actually removable. 2 screws, you can remove that panel, and you can replace it either with the oblong version, which is available from Thermaltake with the LCD panel built in already. But they've also done a new version, so you can actually put a rounded display in there. Now these rounded displays haven't been put out on the market yet, so I have no idea how much they cost. Obviously when they do come out, we'll try and get a video for you so you can see if it's worth your while. But it does come with the bracket in the box ready, so that when those are available on the market, you can have your LCD display on the side there, showing you things such as CPU temperature, GPU temperature, fan speeds, all that kind of stuff. So tons of accessories out of the box, and actually at what I consider to be a very reasonable price. Now the estimated street price for this seems to be around about £100. We've not got a definite answer on that at the moment. It is available over in the US for around about $120, so around about £100 makes it seem about right. There is a couple of listings on Google for around about £100, £104. Those seem to be placeholders, but like I said, I will put links in the video description so you can check out the latest pricing near you. So with all that out of the way, let's take this thing apart and see what it's all about. So if you've seen the Series 300 or the Series 330, this is basically a kind of enhancement of all of those. It uses the same core chassis, so you've got that still strong structural setup. It's really well built, very nice SPC construction, but they've just kind of knocked things up a little bit and added a few bits and pieces here and there to make it what I feel is a much more rounded case. So with the front panel, very easy to remove, just a grab handle on the bottom, so you can just tug this section, and the front panel comes off in its entirety. The glass on the black version has a very slight smoke tint to it, both on the front and also on the side, so that's really nice. And also you've got the extra addition of little bits of extra mesh here, and if you look on the back you can see there are the screws. You can take out the glass and replace it with the mesh should you wish to. Something which I don't entirely understand on this, and this is really my only criticism of this entire case, other than this I think is brilliant, something which hasn't been thought out particularly well, in my opinion, is the airflow or the filtration. Now this case actually boasts up to, I think it's 53 or 55% of the total case is basically filters and filtration. But what they've done is on the bottom, they've added this little bit of extra mesh here, but actually behind it, this handle is wide open, as is the side bits. So that is going to allow completely unfiltered air into the bottom section. Now, depending on how you've got your fan set up, it may or may not be a problem. If you've got a lot of negative airflow, or you're pulling in a lot of air from elsewhere, then it's going to pull in kind of dirty ambient air around here, which is a little bit of a shame. This has been basically, this is open on the bottom as well, so you can put your hand up in there. I think that's why they put the filter there, to try and filter what is being pulled into here. But this is basically open, so ideally you probably want to put a little tape or something just along this bottom section just to seal it off a little bit if you are particularly worried about dust. Realistically, it isn't going to matter a bit, it'd be absolutely fine, but it's just something I thought I'd point out, because they've actually gone to the point of making this really nice shroud and kind of mounting section. So you just pull this off on the top, and there's little legs on the bottom which hook in here, and as you can see with this off, actually this could be really good because it is kind of sealed up. So I guess they've done it on the main areas, so most of your airflow is going to be directed towards the fans, so the filters are going to be pulling, or the filters are going to be trying to trap air or dust here. But yeah, seems like a little bit of an odd thing to do. A little bit of extra 3D printed plastic on the bottom would probably rectify most of that straight away. Anyway, with all that out of the way, you can see the fans, and again, they're totally unobstructed, so no brackets or anything getting in the way of those glorious ARGB fans. And also this entire section can be removed should you wish to, and also kind of flipped around, I guess. There's 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. Undo those, you can lift that out, put in your radiators, your fans, do whatever you want to do. Quite a nice, neat setup there. Also at the top, you've got your cable management, which goes in through the side, so that isn't going to obstruct anything. So yeah, that's all really good. And this bracket or grill, or whatever you want to call it, filter, it's actually really easy to put back on. Little legs on the bottom, so just slot those into the 2 holes there, and magnets hold it all in place. Then of course you can just put the front panel back on, and yeah, you're good to go. Although you may want to leave it off, because getting access to the dust filter on the bottom is a little bit tricky. There's a little plastic ledge on the bottom which you can pull out, and this goes the full length of the case, so that's really nice. And again, it's that really nice soft nylon mesh which does a really good job for filtration. Not too difficult to get back in either, just goes along in runners and kind of clicks into place, although I don't think that actually did then because I'm on a funny angle trying to do it. But anyway, let's move on, shall we? So we'll take a look at the side next of all. So on the side you can see we've got the glass side panel, so again tempered glass, nice and thick as well. I think that's 4mm thick, nice thick glass, held on with 2 thumb screws on the side. Just loosen those off, those are captive, so they're not going to go flying off. And slide the panel backwards, and you can unclip it. Again, nice and thick, heavy duty, we like that. And then we can see inside the case and see what's going on here. So this is designed for ATX motherboards, micro ATX and ITX if you wanted to go down that route. But something which they've done, which was included with the Series 330, but not on the 300, is the fact we've now got the option for using BTF or Project Zero motherboards. So the ones that have the connectors on the back of the motherboard rather than being the front. So you can make this look ultra clean if you wanted to. You don't have to, you can use a normal ATX motherboard or you can use a back to front one. So they've given you all the options there. So depending on how trends go and what comes out from AMD with back to front boards, because at the moment there's very few. Seems Intel have kind of grabbed all those already, but hopefully there will be some AMD ones, so this is going to be very easy to do. Also, you've got some rubber grommets down the side there as well, which you don't always get on cases these days, so it's nice to see that they've included that. And of course, where you've got the cutouts here, you don't need grommets for there, because that is for your kind of Project Zero or BTF boards. So those will be covered up by the motherboard while it's installed. Something which you probably should take note of is the fact that it won't support BTF or Project Zero boards that are micro ATX form factor. That would require extra cutouts around here. So yeah, it's only for ATX Project Zero type boards or BTF boards. Just thought I'd point that out. Other than that, there's loads and loads of areas for passing through cables. So you've got 3 large cutouts on the bottom for things like maybe front panel audio, USB ports, front panel connectors, all that kind of stuff. And also there's a little bit of an indentation here at the front. So if you wanted to put a radiator in here, you can do. There's plenty of room to do that, as we said a little bit earlier on. Also, you can do vertical mounting in here with GPUs. Now they don't include a vertical mount cable. You will need to purchase that separately. But other than that, it's pretty much ready for it. So you've got some holes in here for pillars which can go in, which are included in the accessories bag. And also when we flip this around, you'll see how easy it is to actually convert the PCI Express slots to the vertical alignment, which is yeah, a very handy thing to have. Also, I suppose while we're on this side, I should mention as well, like I said, this panel here is removable. So 2 screws there. That panel comes out, which actually can be quite handy for things like cable management. So if you don't want to go around all the back and do stuff, and you've got a cable which is showing somewhere, you can gain access there, and that's quite easy to do. And also you've got this section here. So this is where your power supply is going to be. This, I don't understand this section at all, but it is, I guess it's different. So you've got a filter in here again. So I don't really know why you'd want a filter there, because your power supply is likely to be either fan down or fan up. If it's fan up, you're going to have lots of airflow through here. If it's fan down, you're going to have filtered airflow coming from the bottom. I don't think you're going to be really getting much from the sides. So yeah, a little bit of an unusual inclusion. I think personally, I would have liked to have seen that being just a flat panel like this one. But I guess it is part of the design ethos for the Series 300 range and also the 500 with these kind of perforations everywhere. So yeah, it's fine, but I think it's just unnecessary. Also, another nice feature which commonly gets overlooked actually is the fact that all of the mounting pillars are pre-installed for ATX format motherboards, and also the one in the middle here, it is actually a centralizing one, or it's got like a little nub in it. So you put your motherboard on there and you know your motherboard's lined up perfectly. Again, it's a very little thing, but it is actually very helpful. Okay, so now we can take a look at the back of the case. So nothing really extraordinary here, but this bit here is actually pretty cool. So at the top, you've got the 140mm fan pre-installed. You can put a 120 in should you wish to. You've got your I/O cutout there, no problems there. Then you've got your PCI Express slots. So this is actually a really clever design. So you take out the 2 thumb screws to gain access to PCI Express cards when it's in the traditional horizontal mounting. If you want to take this out, there's 4 additional screws. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This section lifts out and can be turned around 90 degrees, therefore giving you the perfect setup for vertical GPU mounting should you wish to. I've done some footage of this a little bit earlier when I took it out, so you can see that very easily. But yeah, it's very simple, very straightforward. You don't need a degree in physics or anything, just as long as you've got a crosshead screwdriver, it's really simple to do. And also, again, Thermaltake being Thermaltake, they've thought the design through on this, and again, very clever. So when it's in this position, you can see there's a cutout here. You think to yourself, well, why is there a cutout there? It's unnecessary. But when it is rotated, and this is here, you can see the cutout is actually for the bottom of the I/O shield. So again, they thought of everything. It just, it really does work. And also, as we said earlier at the bottom there, so ATX power supply mount. It isn't one of those ones with a cutout that you can attach and then put the whole lot back in. I personally don't mind it. I think it's absolutely fine. Access is really easy on this, but yeah, normal ATX power supply is absolutely fine. Or if you want to put an SFX one in, you can do with an adapter bracket. Next, we'll take a look at the back, and again, another kind of slightly odd decision. We've got more filtration here for basically the power supply area, which most power supplies these days normally run at 0 fan anyway. So I guess it does let some of the extra heat escape from a power supply if it is building up any heat, but yeah, slightly unnecessary, I think. But again, it is part of that design ethos for the Ceres range. And with that out of the way, we can take a look inside and see what's going on. So again, as we said earlier, you've got your pass-throughs here for your EPS connector at the top, nice and easy to get through. Even the biggest of cables will get through there very easily, and also things like fan wiring, RGB wiring, that sort of stuff. You've also got the cutouts for the Project Zero boards, as we said before, so that's all down the side along here and towards the bottom. You can, of course, use that to pass through cables if you're using a micro ATX board. That is entirely up to you. But yeah, nicely you've got the cutouts there ready and waiting. Huge, great section here for mounting water cooling equipment or some exotic air coolers, so nice and easy access there with nothing getting in the way, which is always nice. This section here, so this can be used for mounting a 3.5-inch drive or a 2.5-inch drive, just a single one on there on a thumb screw, so easy to remove. When it comes to drive storage, you can put 3 2.5-inch drives in here at the same time, so one here, and one here, all on removable sleds. If you want 2 SSDs there, you can do that, so 2 2.5s there and a single 3.5 there. Pretty decent for what is a mid-tower case, I think. Also, nice convenient factors, so you've got loads of little tie-down points and punch-outs. You've also got the Thermaltake zip wraps on there, so that's nice for cable management purposes, and that actually is in line with the grommets as well, so you can keep all of your cables in one nice line, which looks good when it's finalised. When it comes to the front panel connectivity, so we have got a single moulded front panel connector, really handy, saves faffing around, and especially on some motherboards now, it's really hard to get to because they're so cramped and compact. So yeah, having a single block connector for your front panel connectivity is great, and also means you can't wire it up wrong, which is pretty handy. You've got USB 3.0, so that's 5 gigabit per second. You've got 2 cables there, meaning you've got 2 ports on the front. You've also got your HD audio, and there is, as you'd expect from a case like this, you've also got your USB Type-C, so that's USB 3.2 Gen 2. Also, we're looking in the bottom, very open compartment down the bottom here, so loads of room. You can, if you want to, actually add an additional fan in this bottom section, either a 120 or 140. So if you want to pull some air in underneath through the filter and push it up in towards the path of your graphics card, certainly you can do that. Again, you've got 220mm is what they're suggesting for a power supply, but clearly you can put in something which is considerably longer if you wanted to. There's also a little bracket on the bottom as well to support the power supply, to stop it rattling around. And as we said previously, the entire length of the base is all filtered. When it comes to the fans, those are all pre-wired and pre-configured, so they're daisy chained together, the CT140s, ARGB. So 2 are included, and you've got all the cables and extensions already there. So 3-pin 5-volt addressable RGB with a pass-through, and also 4-pin PWM, again with a pass-through, so you can daisy chain more of them should you wish to. Moving down to the bottom, so as we said before, fully filtered all along the bottom. You've got the feet which raise it up just under an inch, so some decent clearance there, and also you've got rubber pads there to get rid of any vibrations, that sort of stuff. Again, the panel comes out, slides out, and you've got this nice mesh everywhere to give yourself some decent airflow. Switching back up to the top, so as with most of the Ceres range, so you've got this typical kind of pattern going on here, perforations, and you just lift this up, magnetic. There's some clips on the front, so they just hook in, and yeah, magnets hold that in place. So yeah, tried and tested, it works very well. And if you leave that out of the way, you can see you've got lots of room there for your radiators, and also a bit of extra width there for the 280s if you want to do that, or 140mm fans if you're going to put those in instead. And also you've got the perforations along the top there, so even things like your VRMs or anything which else giving off heat, obviously your CPU cooler if it's going air cooling, you've got lots of ventilation on here, so they could have quite easily just blocked all that off and had it as a solid metal piece, which is probably cheaper to produce, but they've added the extra airflow there, and also the full width filter as well, so as heat naturally rises, it's going to escape quite easily. Going back to the front panel, so we've got the power button, you've got hard drive LED and power LED, you've got a USB Type-C connection, 2 USB Type-A's, 3.0s, You've got a separate headset and microphone jacks, and also you've got a clicky reset button. So there you go, that is the Ceres 350 MX TG ARGB. I really like this case, I really do. It's a fantastic addition. I really like the Ceres 300, but there was a couple of things about it which I was not entirely sure about. The front panel actually, for some people, puts people off. The scoop on the bottom, I think now that they've got the color coordinator, so it's all the same color, the design language of it is actually quite muted. Although if you do get it in some other colors, it does highlight the angles a little bit more. So if you want a slightly more kind of understated look, I think this is actually a really good way of going about it. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. And actually, one of the things I do like a lot is the fact that the fans are completely unobstructed, other than obviously the glass. But if you're concerned about the glass, don't worry about it, because there's a massive gap along the sides, and also you've got a full filter behind it. So airflow is not going to be a problem, trust me. It's going to be absolutely fine. But if you do want the mesh look, you can obviously swap that out, which is something which you don't always get an option for, especially if you look at cases such as the Corsair 4000 series. So you either had to go for the standard one, you could buy the separate panel if you wanted to, but again, it's another added on expense, which some people don't want. So you've got all the options straight away out of the box. And actually, I'm really liking this black case. We've mostly been doing white cases recently, and a couple of other ones like the greens and matcha blues, that sort of stuff. But I kind of miss the black PC case. They're very timeless in my opinion, and also they don't go yellow like some white cases do, which is always a benefit. So this is always going to look pretty pristine, and it's actually quite forgiving in terms of cable management. For the insides, you've got all the pass-throughs, and obviously the cable wiring for the fans is already done for you, so that's something you don't have to do. But yeah, overall I think this is a very, very nice case. My only concern is, for me personally, I've got a white motherboard and a white graphics card in my PC, which is up over there, which is in the Ceres 330 currently. And I would love to put it in here, but this is black and I'm not spending a lot of money on a new graphics card and motherboard. Or maybe I will when the next lot of AMD stuff comes out. We'll see. But yeah, I will be doing another video with this. So this is just a tour of the case and my kind of first impressions. I am going to do a build in this with an AMD setup. We'll see how that goes. That'll probably be in a live stream. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure you're subscribed, and then you'll get notifications when we go live or a new video comes out, so you can see how that all goes. I think that's gonna pretty much wrap it up. I think this is a really good case. Let me know what you think about it in the comments section below. I'm really interested to see what new colors come out as well, because Thermaltake have said they're going to go with this kind of seasons principle. So as the seasons change, there will be new colors added and possibly some removed. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, if you want some fun colors, obviously you've got the Bubble Pink, you've got the Bumblebee Yellow, you've got the British Racing Green, but then if you want something a little bit more muted, you've got the Hydrangea Blue, you've got the Matcha Green, you've got the white, the black, obviously. I'm pretty sure there's going to be kind of a beigey sand one, like a bronzy sand, so that's kind of interesting as well. But again, we'll see what comes out in the future. All the links for this will be in the video description, so you can check it out at your leisure and see what the prices are like and see what colours are currently available. I think that's going to wrap this one up. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.